Ahoy hoy! Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV. Since last time I took the Gunbreaker file up, and we got some more silver, which is good. So we're going to need every bit. And this floor set will be a little bit trickier than the last ones. I don't exactly remember if this is the poison plants, but whenever we get to the floor set that has like Malboros and shit, you gotta be real careful not to get ads, because everything's poisonous and will inflict strong poisons on you. It's kind of nice that we can eat our food before we start traveling. Let's see. I see, it looks like Impulsos. Although we'll still want to be careful, like, look, it's got a strong speed. This might be the point where, especially with our 8th through pool level, we're going to have to start using a lot more of our potion stock, both types. These things are also fairly dangerous because they put the vulnerability stacks on you. You're rumbling. It's the garage needs to be opening and closing. People can't make up their minds. But I was also trying to think about how I could talk more about this content and some interesting things about it, other than the fact that, you know, running into enemies from all over the world, you know, some of Allegan origin, some, you know, not. And I was thinking that I just showed you all of Eureka, which Eureka came out after this, mind you, but still, sometimes, especially within the context of Final Fantasy XIV, retroactive continuity comes into play, where they, you know, they retcon content to match up storylines or little, you know, side elements and things. And my point is, or my thoughts are, the Pomanders that we use inside of Heaven on High and Palace of the Dead is the exact same animation from when we break open a Neem or whatever after we solidify it in the Logos applicator. So these Pomanders that we're finding in here are actually just Neem from ancient Allegan. I believe that's a frontal tonal, not a true gaze. You can dodge it, I think, by also turning around, but I wouldn't want to risk it. You're better off just going behind and or silencing it completely. But you remember these things. These things are Allegan Nagas, and you know, created a Nazi's law. So that organization, you know, they really knew their shit. They went and got shit and put it in here, you know. And everything has Far Eastern names because we're in the Far East. And they're trying to keep on point and whatnot. And I thought that was, you know, kind of a neat thought that the ancient Allegans, they made new memes as well, and their names are less effective than the modern ones that Drake was, you know, making. You know, of course, they might be intentionally less effective, since this is like supposed to be a challenge ground or a proving ground, more or less, for warriors. So it wouldn't be much of a proving ground if I could, you know, double my HP and never take damage. So. pull 20 monsters at once that are the same strength as me physically, and then, you know, kill them all while siphoning HP. One thing I didn't mention, because I didn't show it, was that when I went back and, you know, did my thing, to finish my samurai relic up, to give it proper substats, I actually sped things up tremendously. I realized that with the plate bearer name and bloodbath, that I could pull effectively as many monsters as I wanted to, as long as I could do enough damage to them to offset, you know, the damage they do to me, because of how long that bloodbath lasts. And so I went to the level 62 Minotaurs, and I would pull the entirety of all the Minotaurs and then hit bloodbath and do 1 AoE and get all of my health back. And then basically I was unkillable the entire time I was fighting them. And Platebearer basically helped me to, you know, stay alive during the pull and not have to switch my magia as often. Although obviously you could switch to the defensive element, you know, like to fire and then do the pull. And then once you have all of them pulled, you switch over to the offense and hit bloodbath. Boom. And basically what would happen is I would damage them just enough that they would be like 2/3 of the way dead by the time the bloodbath ran out. And I would activate my actual bloodbath skill, you know, the ability bloodbath, which isn't as good, but when there's that many targets, it's almost just as good. And you know, I would be able to finish them off, or if I wasn't able to finish them off, I was usually able to finish them. You know what? This is actually a really bad situation. The Aether Pool we have, we wouldn't have been able to kill them swiftly enough before the Vuln stacks got up to 8. Once the Vuln stacks got up to 8, you know, just the fact that we're fighting 3 of them at once, we would have died. So, feels like a waste of a petrification, but my fault for not being careful while I'm yakking and telling you how great it felt to, you know, mass pull by myself in Eureka. And the thing about it was, I was chaining so fast. It made really short work. I didn't start doing it for the last hour I was in Eureka, and during that last hour I got more smoldering protein crystals than I did the first 2. And I wish I had been doing it the whole time. And I kind of gradually worked my way into it though, because I thought that I would need to start with, you know, weaker monsters, because I didn't want to die and have to ask for raises, because that's, you know, not really like super embarrassing, but it's mildly embarrassing, you know. It's like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing, you know. And so like first I went to the those moblin chimeras or goblin chimeras or whatever, that where you spawn you know, the goblin notorious monster. And I chained them together at first, and they were giving like feeble and occasionally gentle light. And then I decided they were, you know, it was whatever. And I changed direct, instead of waiting for them to respawn, because there's only like 12 of them or whatever, I just went ahead and moved straight into the Oro bonds that are right next to them that are the same level. And those pretty much had the same deal, except a lot of them mutate, and when they mutate, they only grant guaranteed feeble, I've never seen a mutation grant more than feeble, so that doesn't seem to be the way to go. So I moved yet still further to the level 51. I don't know what the monster family is called, but it's like the giant tree root dudes that are like, they walk on 2 legs that double as their arms that are up there, and did them relatively easy. And they actually gave feeble, gentle, and bright occasionally. I got 2 brights out of them. But the problem with those was that they're close to that elemental battle in the north of Pyros. And that meant that occasionally people doing the bunny rabbits would get in my way and aggro them, and I would lose chains, or like I wouldn't be able to get as many in the mask pool. Then I tried the Matangas that popped the Notorious Monster ducks, and the problem with them is they do an AoE that's not just damage, it actually inflicts stun upon you, so if you let yourself get hit, you get stunned. And while it's not fatal or anything, it just slows things down. So I opted to go back and try Minotaurs because I thought about it and I was like, well, I might have to use more Berserks, or not Berserks, Bloodbaths, but per like pull or whatever. But, you know, they're level 62 and the rate that they give Gentle at is, you know, much higher than level 61 or 60 monsters. So I did. And it worked out so perfectly. Like it was, you know, it was great. It was fantastic. My best pull was, you know, it's like chained up to chain 14, and then I killed a single Minotaur to get to 15, and I weakened another and put Higginbana on it, you know, the dot. And that led me to you know, doing another chain of 14. I got up to chain 29. And then some frost elementals actually spawn in the area that are level 62. I decided to fight one by itself for the 30th chain. It did an adaptation and grew large, and it gave me a bright light that wound up being a full crystal and 3/4 worth of light. So that was pretty freaking amazing. Alright, we made our petrification back. That's good. And when I finish this floor set, or if I DC, or if I like... Well, if I DC, I'm not going to be showing this recording, but... you know, basically, the next time I finish a floor set, or the next video I make, whichever one comes first, I'm going to switch to Samurai after I get done, and show you the completed relic. It's got like a pinkish aura that like phases to like yellow, green, pink, must be red I guess, and then like sort of blue maybe. I really only see yellow and pink mostly, but looks alright I guess. The blade itself looks really cool. And as such, I actually currently have it glamored to its previous stage before it got the aura. And also, if you're curious as to what like went on with Geralt when it was completed and whatnot, basically nothing important. You hold it up, and he makes a blurb about how it's a proper god slaying weapon now, and you know he's done his due diligence. He's finally paid off all his debts. And then Drake comes running up, and he's like, "Oh, Master Geralt, a letter for you from Rowena." And he's like, "Oh, what does she want now?" You know. He reads it, and it's like, "Oh yeah, he's just saying my debt's been paid off." oh wait, there's another piece of parchment that's attached to the back. It's like an invoice, and it's an invoice for the exact same amount as his debt was for some booze that he ordered because she decided to put a huge markup on it, basically to keep him under her yoke, for him ordering 1 crate of alcohol directly to Eureka, since he couldn't get off the island or whatever. You'd think he could just ask the expedition members to buy their grog, or share their grog, but nope. Nope, he had to order his own. And the markup causes him to still be in debt to Rowena. And so he says, you know, go on, give me more raw materials, make more of these things. Make more of these things, pay off my debt again. And I assume the same thing happens each time. And I guess maybe if you did all of them, you might have, like, finally get out of debt because there'd be nothing else for you to do, but I doubt it. I don't think that the intention behind making relics really grindy is that you don't try to get them all. It's that you get one and you stop. And most people do not take that idea to mind. They see that you can get all the relics, and they immediately launch into trying to get all the relics. And those nutters actually do succeed and eventually get all the relics. It just, you know, it consumes them for like a full year. Like, some people actually really do like grindy content, and they like grinding the content. They like just, you know, doing the same thing over and over and over. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be that hard. It would be really boring. You would be in each Eureka zone for a long ass time. Heck, I bet if you tried to finish all the Animos ones, at least nowadays, like from a fresh start, like if you were just starting Eureka and you decide to do every relic up to the Animos stage first, I bet you would easily hit like level, you know, like 32 or 33 before you got done getting them all up to the finished Animos stage. Just from the sheer number of protein crystals and Animos crystals that you would need. Of course, I could be wrong. But there were people out there, as each step of Eureka came out, they basically stayed in Eureka non-stop till they had every relic for every job. And of course, now that there are more jobs like Gunbreaker, I assume that you can do a relic for Gunbreaker. I don't actually know, though. Because as far as I'm aware, Gunbreaker doesn't have a level 70 AF set. So I don't think they would have anything to upgrade in Eureka, but I could be wrong. It's been a while. Abilities unavailable and no items. Oh, but look, we get to use Magicite. Oh, but speaking of Magicite, I actually got an Odin Magicite, which we will be saving because if we make it far enough, into Heaven on High, we can use that to kill any boss of our choosing. So we could use it to kill, you know, the floor 90 boss, which is the hardest boss in the dungeon. Of course, at the end of the day, it is just a Magicite, and it will kill entire floors for you, and works just like all the other Magicites. But it's gonna be, if I use it on a non-boss floor, it's gonna be a completely last resort sort of thing, because its value for just saving time on the 81 to 90 floor set is, you know, is astronomical, right? Like, because the main issue with soloing this place at the higher floors, it's not survivability. You can survive just fine, especially on Gunbreaker. Gunbreaker is like the most survivable job in this place because of how fast it can kill things, and also because of you know, the fact that it's a tank and has more HP and defensive cooldowns and stun and silence, as well as you know, arm's length to slow stuff. So like, there's stuff in like the Heaven on High guide that they tell you is impossible to kill because the guide was written before Gunbreaker existed, and it was for a Red Mage soloist, because Red Mage was one of the only jobs to really do well in here until Shadowbringers. I mean, I don't know what I think the world first person was on Red Mage, but I don't really know what came after that and like what kind of insano flex things people have done. Because it's possible on any job thanks to Magicite, but you have to be a lot luckier. But anyway, every time I've tried soloing, the farthest I ever got solo, like completely by myself, was floor 89. But in my opinion, when I tried duoing it with my friends, I pretty much soloed floors 81 to 89. I mean, I can't say that I actually did. Like, yeah, it wasn't solo. Like, they were there. They made the first, like, 5 or so floors of that floor set really easy and really fast. But they also cost me a lot of time because I kept having to go back to the, you know, the Karn of Return or whatever and revive them. And they wasted enough time dying that by the time we got to the 490 boss, we had like 6 minutes and 30 seconds left or something like that. And we had an Odin Magicite, and I knew there was no way that we were going to be able to fight 490 boss and her live through it. So I just went ahead and popped the Odin. So, like we had some Pomanders, but if we'd used them to fight the boss, we would have gone into floors 91 to 100 with nothing. And that's, you know, not a good way to go into a floor set. And as it was, we went into floor 91 to 100, and we wiped on floor 94. We didn't wipe, we just timed out. She died to a horseman charge that's a one-shot. I didn't tell her it was a one-shot. I tried to. I said, line of sight that, you know, I said LOS that or whatever, and it was too slow. By the time my message got out, you know, like, she needed to have already moved, and so, like, she started moving to get behind, you know, cut, like, I pulled it, you know, like, to here, and she needed to basically line of sight it, like, right here, and, you know, we needed to be in voice chat is what we needed to be, to stood a better chance. Because we could have gotten to floor 100 quite easily. Like, it was the home stretch. Like, I thought we had it. I thought that after we had not timed out on 81 to 90, that 91 to 100, like, it wasn't going to be effortless. But, you know, all we had to do was kill 6 to 12 monsters per floor and then go up. And this is incredibly annoying, not being able to use items. Like, I get that that's supposed to be a really bad debuff, but I kind of wish they would take it out of the debuff. Like, no ability is bad enough. But maybe I'm just a weenie. Yeah. Also, if I sound really harsh about my friend, I don't really have any ill will about it, other than the fact that, like, just can't seem to do well when we play together. Because, like, she started a Palace of the Dead static back in Stormblood, I think it was. And, you know, it's for people who just hadn't done it, and because they didn't want to try it alone, and yeah, they felt like it might be insurmountable. And we went together. It was her, me, this person that I thought was kind of cool at the time, but was actually kind of a dick. But and none of them had done it before, so I told them what was what. We went down, and I was actually playing healer in the group because I knew that they would be struggling to live, and that if I went as healer, all they had to really do was be my muscle. And that worked out for the first 180 floors. It worked out rather well. And then in the 181 to 190 floor set, despite me telling them exactly how they needed to fight things and how we needed to be moving, they kept ignoring me, and then they kept getting hit by stuff, and I literally couldn't save them, like, after a certain point. And we wound up wiping because they were all dead, and we had aggroed 3 golden chimeras, and I just couldn't overcome it. Like, we didn't have any pomanders for me to use either. Which is a deep fried shit show. What was even shittier about it, though, was just the fact that I knew that when we failed, that the group wasn't ever gonna go again, because they felt like they couldn't do it. And that kind of mentality bothers me. Like, I can understand not having the time to do it again, but like, we made the time to do it. Like, it's not like our schedule suddenly came, something that we couldn't work around. And like they just didn't want to go again. So it was sad times. Double sad too, because my other friend, one time it's a friend I really like, different friend, agreed to try to duo Palace of the Dead with me. I was on Paladin, they were on Red Mage, and this was also in Storm Blood time, and we went on down, and we got all the way to the floor 190 boss. And I thought we were going to be fine. But she got frozen solid. And then I couldn't... We didn't have the pomanders, and I couldn't win. So we wound up wiping. I was totally ready to go again. But she wanted to... She said she would go again, but we would have to have a full party. And we did, and we beat it together with a couple of our other friends. And it just always saddens me when, like, mistakes get made, and people, they feel bad about them, but they feel so bad about them that, like, they don't want to get better. They just wanted to win, regardless of, if it was under their own merits or willpower or whatnot. And again, it's also nothing against my other friend either. I mean, she was willing to at least go again. She just had conditions. But, we totally could have duoed 191 to 200. We just didn't, so. C'est la vie, or whatever they say. So you can kind of see how like our Aether Pool level is sort of causing this floor that normally wouldn't be a time-sensitive thing to. We're already halfway down for time, and I mean we're not like lower than we should be, but it would be better if we were at the boss already. All right. My girlfriend and I finished the show Community last night. And it ran for 6 seasons. It was a really good show, but apparently it just, it was just destined to fail because, like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that. We're just gonna Serenity this floor because we're not we're not dealing with no health, buffed enemies, and then no items. Like, we're just not dealing with that with it. Maybe if we were 99.99, I would have been okay to deal with it, but we're not, so I'm not. I heard these things are like a Final Fantasy 13 enemy, and I vaguely remember something that looked vaguely like them or something, but it's been so long since I touched Final Fantasy 13 that I don't actually remember. We're actually gonna use a Pomander Raising because I don't trust myself with the boss on this floor set. It's slightly more dangerous than the last boss, especially if you lag. So, like, it's got more AoE indicators basically, and since you're by yourself, they all target you every single time, and it can be kind of rough. And there's that thing, passive infrared guidance system. Those are the robots I was mentioning in the last video, or the video before last, or whatever. That thing, Heavenly Rachimoni, or whatever. It's it blasted us. Oh hey, Vortex. I guess we'll get rid of this Crag so that Odin becomes the most left-hand one, and then we can use the right-handed Magicites. That's one thing that kind of sucks about actually getting Odin, is that since you want to safeguard it for the rest of the run, basically, because those Elder Magicites are so rare that I have done runs where I get all the way to the 81 floor set, and I still haven't found an Elder Magicite. And I went into every single room on every single floor, looking for silvers, and just nope. Found plenty of other Magicites, found plenty of Titan Garuda and Ifrit, but no Elder Magicites, so. Also, come to think of it, another way this place is sort of tied to Eureka is the fact that, in the Eureka storyline, we learned that Eureka makes the weapons, that Eureka likely created the Zantetsuken that, creates Odin. So, the Eureka Primal is really old, for one thing. And for another, they were able, through the Magicites, to emulate a Primal along with the weapon that Eureka made. So, the guys behind this tower, or whatever, they were something else. haven't got any item use, but as long as we're careful and watch out for patrols, we should be fine. Like those guys. You want to watch out when you pull one of these things. They have the suck in, I'm pretty sure. It's like electromagnetism or something like that. Yeah, there it is. You know what? I don't want to do that, but I probably should have, you know, I sort of set myself up for failure. I should have probably went ahead and dealt with the patrol. Because that was a waste of 2 perfectly good Pomanders. Serenities can be really hard to come by, and Serenities are one of the Pomanders that will save your life. So it's kind of, wow, I figured that was another intuition. I feel like intuitions are way too common. We got our petrification back. Seems legit. Okay. Steel, I'll take that. It'd be funny if you could walk out of those holes and the patrolling mobs could like walk out of them and just die. And then like you just suddenly got potions and you weren't sure why. One thing that's kind of sad about Shadowbringers is they also said that we're not getting any deep dungeons for it. So we're, you know, this is it. Like, this is the last deep dungeon that the game is going to have until possibly forever. They might do one in 6.0, I think, but there's no guarantee. Deep dungeons have been relegated to the same place as normal dungeons. That is too boring to design or something, I guess. Which, to be fair, I mean, you know, this is basically, you could argue that this is basically just an extra 10 floors that's added to Palace of the Dead. Just the same exact premise, it just, you know, it has its own set of monsters with the Pomander rules. But I think it's different enough to warrant a different name. And personally, I like the different stories surrounding it. But here we've got, what is that, Suikazura? And it's basically like Far Eastern Scylla or whatever. It's like a Scylla clone. Scylla, however you say her name. You know, the first boss of the Circus Tower, 24-man raid. And see, she summons the Accursed Canes, and they do, you know, rings, and they do this again, and she does that, and they do the beams, and they do the beams again. And you can see how if you were to lag out, you know, that it could be very easy for you to die. Cat things with flare, but there's no puddles to get in, so you just have to take the, you just have to take the damage. And the flare also tries to hide the AoE circle, that big bright orange burst. And that's why a lot of people hide animations, even from the opponents. so that to cut down on that. And I think that for the most part of the challenge, honestly. I mean, it does. It's more difficult to play with animations on. The most new extreme fight actually gave me some trouble at first in my eyes. Like, it was just, there were so many animations happening. It was ridiculous. Also, there was a solo run I did where I got to this boss, and I didn't have a Raging Foamander on. And Ancient Flare happened, and I lagged out right as Ancient Flare went off, and I knew that if I didn't 90k that I would be dead. And I didn't 90k, and when everything caught up, I was straight up dead. There was nothing I could do about it. The worst lag spike of my life. Well, maybe not the worst of my life, but yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, I would rather, not fail by my connection. Boss you might consider using Foamanders for, like, not Odin, but like, the, what's it called, the, frailty, and like, attack, strength of steel. Just because, like, the more you can minimize having to deal with her bullshit, the better off you are. In some ways, though, she's even easier than the last boss. She doesn't really... I mean, she sort of forces you to reposition a little bit, but, like, it's all just simple dodging. Like, there's no proximity that's, like, basically lethal if you stay in range. There's no... everything is telegraphed. Yeah. Words are hard, okay? Also, something weird, I guess, about life is like, I don't know if it's because I got humbled and I don't think of myself as smart anymore. Ever since I was in the Navy and like people, like just out and out smarter than me, like a lot of the time. In like Doom and stuff, but like as I get older, I feel like I'm actually getting dumber, and I don't know why that is, but that's just how I feel. I'm trying to conserve my Empyrean potions because I haven't been getting many potshers. Shield's gonna wear off though, and we're gonna have to like basically use because of our Aether pool, we're gonna have to use our Empyrean potions. boy. Oh dear. Ugh. I fucked that one up, huh? Okay, well we're low on time now, so we're gonna have to use Pomanders, unfortunately. I fucking screwed the pooch. Sorry, viewer. And sorry, me. Just give me more HP. Sigh. That's my own fault. Obviously. The fight was almost over. I don't know why I decided to get stupid about dodging. I dodged towards the outside of the arena instead of, you know, across the arena. There I was, saying that she's easier than, you know, the other boss. And I didn't even, you know, back up my own, you know, shit by actually, you know, beating her without Pomanders at all. Sometimes you just don't do well. It's probably because I was thinking about, you know, negative thoughts. Funny thing is, I know it's because of the weakness, but like she didn't even feel like she was going down all that fast. I know I'm disengaging a lot too, but it'd be kind of cool if you could cause her own stabs to shoot her. It seems though that in Final Fantasy XIV there's no such thing as friendly fire. I don't think friendly fire ever happens in a quest line either. Not even in quest lines with guns. Yeah, you can cast that ancient flare. Help with magnesia. Scratch my nose. It'd be really sad if I screwed up again or lagged or something, and then I had to like waste Oaten on this bitch. Which I mean, theoretically, I could just get another Oaten, but like I was actually super surprised to get Oaten at all, you know, in the first place. My luck with Magicite is usually pretty bad. I usually don't get very many. Like I'll be using like the same 3 match sites for like 60 floors. Sometimes ridiculous. So I guess a good rule of thumb for ancient players is just stand under her hitbox. And you don't have to worry about anything. When you're in a party, the stabs can target anyone, so like, you know, there's not as much pressure. In that regard, pretty much all of these bosses were designed with being soloed in mind. And I think that's why you can chalk them up to being easier than the House of the Dead ones. But the 491 is one you could say, you know, wasn't supposed to be soloable, and that's why they have the Odin Edge site. Because it does a lot of crazy shit. Like, I can't even remember what it does right now, because I haven't fought it in so long properly. God, I'm gonna watch the recording of this later, and like, well, what did we have her at last time? Like, when I freaking screwed the pooch, wasn't it like 7% or something? Maybe 17. Something low. I think it was low. I don't remember. But there we go. Sorry for wasting your time and mine. Oh dear. Well, it just goes to show you how easily stuff can go wrong, even when you know exactly what you're doing. And that would be Gunbreaker hitting level 65. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Let me walk on out of here and show you the Samurai Relic from Eureka in its finished state. It's like the Togiria Shira or Eureka or whatever. Let's see. So currently it's glamored to its previous state, which looks like that. And that blue crystal there, that kind of matches the blue crystal on the Proto-Ultima mesh. It only lights up when you have the weapon drawn. And obviously I have the weapon dyed to bone white to match the metallic, you know, accoutrements of his armor. And its sheath there, you see, let's see if I can't change its pose real quick. That works. Okay. The sheath, it also has blue crystals on it and also a white crystal. So I feel like it like goes perfectly with my Proto-Ultima mesh glamour. And I like it better without the aura, because the aura, like, I'm gonna remove the glamour if I can here. Basically, this is the default color. Like, by default, it's red. And interestingly, the glamour dispeller also did dispel its dye, because I dyed the original one as well. But see, it's red, and then there's the aura. And the thing I don't like about the aura is that, like, it's not that it looks bad. I think it looks cool. But when you're in fights and you're all the way zoomed out, it kind of makes it look like you're swinging a big old glow stick rather than like an ethereal sword or like lightsaber or whatever. So like, I don't know, I just kind of like to have an actual blade. That's why I go with the replica of the previous stage. And doesn't it just dye perfectly with my glam? Like, it's like riddled with black and the slight blue, you know, like it's perfect. Like, I love it. It looks awesome and amazing. So there's that. Anywho, obviously now I've got a solo run to do on Dark Knight File, and I'll see you next time. So thanks for watching, and you won't have to put up with Heaven on High too much longer, because either I'm going to fail and then move on with the Let's Play, or I'll succeed, in which case we're going to have like 3 more videos, or 4 more videos. We got 61 to 100 to do, so I guess that's 4 floor sets. So at most 4 more videos on Heaven on High, and at least 1 more. So 1 to 4 more videos on Heaven on High, and you know, more than likely it'll be like 2 more videos. I don't think that I'll die till the 80s, but I could very realistically die from any point here on out because of how low my Aether pool is, and also just because of how hard it gets. So anywho, I'll see you next time.